Hello everyone, and welcome to my ranking of the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. Arr. Sorry, I had to start that off with a bang. Normal voice. Anyway, so, with the release of Pirates of the Caribbean Salazar's Revenge, or Dead Men Tell No Tales, depending where you live, I have now seen and reviewed that movie. I have reviewed all 5 Pirates of the Caribbean movies, so now it's time for the ranking. Ooh, okay. Like many of my other lists, this is purely a personal preference. I'm not saying these are the 5 movies you have to. I'm not saying this is the order you have to rank the 5 movies in. I'm simply a fan expressing my opinion and my love for this franchise, because I think it's a really underrated franchise. I really do, especially the sequels. So. Yeah, this is a personal list from my weakest to the best. And for the record, I don't actually think there is a bad movie in this series at all. Unlike some people who tend to just hate on the sequels. So yeah, please don't kill me. Anyway, let's begin. Number 5. Now, I watched this one again recently, and you know, I really want to like it more. It's gone down in my opinion a little bit. For me, number 5 has to be the 4th movie, On Stranger Tides. Yeah, On Stranger Tides. I mean, the one thing I'll say about this movie is that it's refreshing. It's nice to finally have ditched Orlando Bloom and Keira Knightley's characters, Will and Elizabeth, because they would not have had a place in the story. They would have felt so forced. So the change of cast is refreshing, and Penelope Cruz is a good character. For me, the problem with this movie as to why it doesn't stand out to me is because it's just terribly ordinary. I mean, it's a back to basics sort of formula, which I really like. But at the same time, there's nothing remotely groundbreaking about it. It's just meh. It just is. You know, the story's all right. It's good enough. Again, it's good enough, but nothing really makes me go, whoa, that is Pirates of the Caribbean. It doesn't really have the kind of the visceral excitement that I got from the other movies, which is why it's down here. But that's not to say it's not without enjoyment. It is very enjoyable. It's just the one that recently I've enjoyed watching the least. The pacing is all over the place. 1 minute it goes really quick, the next minute it slows down. It doesn't quite know what to do. It can't make up its mind. The film is funny. It has some nice comedy. It's not the best. Johnny Depp's pretty good in this film, and it's shorter than its predecessors, so that's a bonus. But it doesn't feel short. It does feel long. The mermaid scene is pretty damn awesome, and visually it does look impressive, and you can tell that Gore Verbinski didn't direct this movie. Rob Marshall's direction it's all right. I think some of the action scenes are a little bit sloppy. I think this has the weakest action of the series, but there's some, for all that is bad, there is good. I mean, the romance between Philip and Serena basically is just to replace Will and Elizabeth. You could have easily have cut that out. That had no place in the story whatsoever. I mean, they acted it well, I'll give them that, but yeah. And yeah, Gibbs, I guess, was kind of forced in there as well. I liked Barbossa's story, and Blackbeard was a cool villain, although for most of the movie, he was just walking through the jungle. Most of the movie, he was walking around, not doing anything. He does have a couple of really intense scenes, like when he gets the sword out and he ties up his crew in the ropes, and then he burns the guy in the boat. That's really intense. And when he's taunting Serena, you know, he's just evil. He's pure evil. I don't really like the whole daughter thing, like Angelica being his daughter. I don't really get that. I never believed it, and I don't believe it. But yeah, I mean, On Stranger Tides, it's fun, it's good, but it's nothing more. So for the full review, go to the full review. But yeah, it's number 5. Okay, number 4. Again, some people would rate this as their worst, but sorry, I get a little bit more enjoyment out of this one than on Stranger Tides. So for me, number 4 is the third movie, At World's End. Now, this one I was debating about where to put this one because my opinion of it just keeps changing so much. I think I've now decided that my opinion of this movie is that I like it. It's solid. I don't love it, but I like it. The film suffers from being just ridiculously long. It is nearly 3 hours long. I mean, that is pushing it. I mean, come on, Gore. That is pushing it. That is really pushing it. Even by a pirate standard, that is really, really pushing it. So that's the reason why it's down here, because it's just way too long. However, the good things are, it's bloody epic. And the story is nicely continued after Dead Man's Chest, and you feel the stakes. The stakes are high. Even though I didn't mention this in my review, but the opening sequence is a little bit too dark with the hanging. I don't think that was the right way to open the film. I mean, I love the song that they sing, the Hoist the Colours. I forgot to mention that in the review as well, so I'm sorry. That was good. I don't mind Beckett in this film. He gets more to do, so that's good. Davy Jones is awesome, and I like the whole story with him and Calypso, and I think that's really nice. That's a really interesting story. And the action, when it's there, is awesome. The big battle at the end is bloody awesome. Even though it takes ages to get there, but, it's worth the wait. For me, the lack of action does make up for the comedy. I laughed a lot during this film. And it's nice to see Barbossa come back as well. Chow Yun-fat was wasted as Sao Feng. They could have used him so much more. The movie's nearly 3 hours, and he was in like 2 scenes. I think also it just tries too hard to be like a big epic finale, and in one way it kind of does that, but in another way it kind of doesn't. Yeah, they kill off a few characters as well, like Norrington and Governor Swan, and even nearly Will at one stage. The ending is really nice, and it does wrap things up nicely, like with Will becoming the captain of the Dutchman, and then him having to leave Elizabeth for 10 years. God, I wouldn't do that. I would never be under the influence of that curse. But yeah, it's pretty spectacular when it needs to be. The direction by Gore Verbinski is decent, but it's not his best. But it is still a lot of fun, and the story is good, and it's pretty epic. And I love the scene when they turn the ship upside down. That's awesome. And the Hans Zimmer score, magnificent. And also the score for On Stranger Tides is magnificent. I forgot to mention that as well. Okay, let's move on. I'm making this short and sweet. I don't really want to ramble on because I've already reviewed these movies. Okay, so number 3 is the latest film in the series, Salazar's Revenge, or Dead Men Tell No Tales. Yes, the one with 2 titles. Salazar's Revenge, or what I'll call it because I'm in the UK. Salazar's Revenge is a very fun movie. I was toying with this one whether to put it above or below At World's End, but I think I've seen it a good couple of times, and I think I'm very much set in my ways, and I feel that it is better than At World's End, purely because it's so short. It's really short. It's like 2 hours 10 minutes, or if that. So it breezes by. It just goes so quickly. You can have so much fun with it. The story moves a little bit worse for wear. The whole idea of the Trident of Poseidon. It's a very formulaic idea. It's not anything we haven't seen before, like usual pirates thing. They have to go after an object to stop something. But I love the emotional backlog behind it. The whole idea of Henry wanting to free his father from the curse. The opening scene was beautiful, absolutely beautiful, the opening scene, and I really felt sorry for Henry. He was a good character. Like, the characters are good in this. You've got Karina and Henry. Their romance is alright, I guess. Basically another discount Will and Elizabeth. I mean, the one thing I'll say about Henry, they casted him really well, because he looks exactly like the combination of Keira Knightley and Orlando Bloom. So Brenton Thwaites looks like both of them together. If they had a love child, it would be him. So yeah, I mean, I was really impressed with how much he looked like him. Javier Bardem as Salazar was creepy as fuck. I mean, he doesn't do much in the way of being physically threatening, but he's there, and he has his moments, but he doesn't have many moments with Jack or Henry or Karina. He has most of his screen time with Barbosa, which is a bit weird. Speaking of which, Barbosa, his inclusion to the film I thought was kind of pointless until the end, when the twist is revealed, and I thought, oh, okay, that was interesting. I didn't see that coming. It kind of works. It's nice. You know, it's a nice. You'll see it if you want. I don't want to spoil it because it's only just come out, and I feel that the end of this movie is nice, and it wraps up the series. If this is the last one, which I highly doubt, but it wraps things up nicely, especially for the Turners as well. We have brief cameos from Will and Elizabeth, so they don't overshadow the film, which is nice. I was worried that was going to happen when I saw the trailers, but thankfully that didn't happen. The comedy is not the best here. The wedding scene's funny, and there are some funny lines. I think the Johnny Depp performance it's good enough for this movie, but I think that it's starting to tire now. It's time for someone else to take the lead. As much as I love Captain Jack Sparrow and Johnny Depp, it's just not as fresh as it was in the first two movies. I think that was when Johnny Depp really hit its peak, in the first two films. But yeah, I mean, and also the film is just action-packed. It's a lot of fun. The story's simple enough, other than like the amount of people that are going after this trident is ridiculous. But and there's some nice callbacks to the first one, like with the two guards, Murtaugh and Mulroy. They're pirates on the Queen Anne's Revenge, which is where Barbosa is. He's obviously got Blackbeard's ship now, which is great. Again, it's short, it's sweet, it breezes by. The music is good, even though it's all a rehash, but still. And, you know, the direction is pretty solid. So, yeah. But it's not my favourite. It's in the middle. It's damn in the middle. I would watch it, you know, on a rainy day and have fun. I really would. And that's why I prefer it to the other two before it, because it goes much quicker, and it's just a breeze. It just goes by. The other two are a little bit slower than this one. Let's move on, shall we? Number 2 is... This is going to surprise... Well, it's probably not going to surprise some people. Don't hate me for this. Number 2 is The Curse of the... Don't get me wrong, I really like this movie, but I don't think it's the best. I've always had a lot of respect for this film, because it's the first one, and it established the series. I think the story is great. You know, it's a simple premise, and it's executed really well. Gore Verbinski's direction is on top form. The characters are brilliant. Jack is funny as hell. Orlando Bloom and Keira Knightley aren't really that good. They're okay, but it's not their worst performance. Oh god, they're just, as characters, I feel Will and Elizabeth aren't as interesting as Jack or some of the others. Barbosa's a terrific villain. The action is awesome. There are a couple of saggy moments. It does take its time in a few areas. It's very long. The action scene at the end with the gallows is a little bit unneeded. You don't need that. Just have the film end by that point, because we've had the big climax. You know, we don't need another blooming action scene. Film is hilarious. It's well paced. It has aged really well, and the visual effects are still pretty good, even though they are starting to date. But for me, I don't think it's the best, because I've always had a lot of affection for this one. Now, I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me, but it's my opinion, guys, so if you can't respect it, then, you know, don't watch my video. Number 1 is, of course, Dead Man's Chest. know this is probably an unpopular opinion. I know one of my subscribers, future filmmaker, he really likes this movie. He puts it as his favourite of the series. How you doing, buddy? And I agree. It's just such a ride. I think the story's much more interesting. I love the whole mystery surrounding this film. The fact that it's the first part of a two-part story is also interesting because, like I said, it adds a lot of mystery and suspense. Like, we want to know. I was wondering, who is Davy Jones and why is he heartbroken and what's all this got to do with this? And people say that this gets really convoluted. I don't think so. I genuinely don't think so. I had no problem following the plot whatsoever. You know, the East India Trading Company invade. They try to arrest woman Elizabeth for assisting Jack Sparrow in the first film. You know, then Jack has to go and make... Will has to make a deal with Beckett, to get Jack's compass to find the chest because they want to control the seas. But, there's more to it than that. Davy Jones, he's been heartbroken by Calypso. He's an angry man. Will's finding his father. There's a lot that happens in this movie. And, some people just pass this off as filler, as a timekeeper. I can understand why you say that, but for me, I disagree. I feel that there is enough in here, for a full 2.5 hour film. It's epic as well. And the Kraken is fucking awesome. This thing is just ginormous, and it's just... I mean, the music for this as well is the dun 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 dun. Like, the Kraken appears about 2 or 3 times in the film, and it's just so good. I also love Norrington and his journey as a character, how he's fallen from grace, and he's trying to redeem himself. And there's a huge 3-way sword fight on top of a giant wheel, which is just incredible. And the visual effects and CGI are amazing, particularly for Davy Jones, whose tentacles sort of like have to move around, have to like float and move around a lot. And the ending of the movie is hard hitting with Jack Sparrow's death, or which is really powerful. Although the only thing I will say, I don't like how Elizabeth is written towards the end. She's written as a bit of a bitch. She just leaves him to die for no reason. It's like, well, obviously because the Kraken wants Jack, so she's like, oh, no, this is the only way, don't you see? But she's such a bitch. Why did she do that? And then, she kisses him as well, and, Will never actually confronts her about it. He has a stern look on his face, but he never actually says, oh, why did you kiss Jack? Well, I guess they kind of mention it in the third movie, but yeah. I've always loved this one. I've just always loved it. I think it's paced really well for a 2.5 hour movie, and it's the one that gives me the most pleasure when I watch it. So, you don't have to agree with me, but at least respect my opinion. So, there we have it, guys. That's it. That's my ranking of the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise. Just to recap, number 5 is On Stranger Tides. Number 4 is At World's End. Number 3 is Salazar's Revenge, or Dead Men Tell No Tales. Number 2 is The Curse of the Black Pearl. And number 1 is Dead Man's Chest. So, that's that, guys. Thank you all for watching. What do you agree? Sorry, I can't speak. Thank you all for watching. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Please put your comments down below. Let me know. Give me your lists as well. I'd love to compare and contrast. And I want to make a shout out to a new subscriber of mine who was recommended to me by Harry Thomas. Also a shout out to Harry Thomas. Go and watch his ranking and reviews of Pirates of the Caribbean. This new subscriber is called Angel I Love Movies. I just wanted to say, hi Angel. Thank you very much. I know you're a great lover of this franchise, so thank you for watching my reviews and watching my ranking. It is much appreciated, and I would love to see you do some reviews of these movies if you ever got the chance to review them. I think you would be great, so thank you, Angel. So, that's it, guys. Thank you all for watching. Stay tuned for my Spider-Man reviews. Until then, I'm Mr. TARDIS11. See ya.